Hi everybody, my name is Jim and welcome back to another episode of The Lake Effect Gardener. I apologize for the light back here, but can you hear the bugs? All right, it's morning. It's not even 10 o'clock yet in the morning, and it's already just blazing hot back here. And I went to go film in the shed. I opened up the shed, and it was just a bazillion degrees. So I thought, you know what? I've got this kind of this pop-up canopy back here on my patio. It's a little bit more shaded, a little bit cooler, so I'll film back here instead. But today I'm going to finally give you the August tour 2021. A lot has changed, a lot is going on. This is going to be my final installment before I head back to school. And I just wanted to share with you what everything looks like and where I'm headed as we go into the declining months of the year. But before we do that, we have to go up on the shed so that I can show you the grand overview of what the garden looks like in August. You can already see a lot of change has occurred. Yes, I have been busy. I finally managed to get back there and trim all the grass as to, you know, kind of reveal how different things look back there. But let's reserve judgment until we head back. I want to show you and kind of explain to you the direction that I'm going to be heading in from here on out. And the direction is going to be quite different. So we're going to head over to the pergola area and we'll start there. As always, we're going to start over here by the pergola area. I've done a lot of cutting back here because it's become very overgrown, but this sage is still going mad and the bees are still loving every minute of it. All right, we're gonna come around the corner here. My Gertrude Jekyll has really shot up in the past couple of weeks, and it's ready to send out some more blooms, which I'm really happy about. Those are just gorgeous, and I love that they're actually taller now, so I don't have to bend over to smell them. Things are, you know, coming along. The zinnias are getting taller and more beautiful and with bigger blooms every time I walk past here. So, and I've been cutting them regularly and drying them and, you know, deadheading what I can in order to save the seed. Okay, and I usually wait until they look kind of like this. Okay, those are good for seed. And then the Rudbeckia over here. And we still have some dahlias that are sending up blossoms. All right, let's head down the path and show you the big changes that have been happening back here. Okay. So, in my last garden video, I had told you how I'd clean this up and my intention was to plant beans. I actually wanted to amend the soil a little bit more before I did that, and the weather's been just so nasty that I haven't had a chance to do it. So I did manage to amend the soil, and I did plant 4 rows of beans, bush beans in here. You're gonna understand where I'm coming from here in a minute as I explain. But I'm having issues. Here are my carrots. I'm having issues with critters nibbling them down. I mean, you can really see it's very, very frustrating. It seems to me that I had to move this little sound machine here, this pest deterrent, into this garden because they were nibbling. And before I came out to film, there were just a couple of squirrels chilling out right in front of it, and it didn't bother them at all. So maybe they've adapted, I don't know. But yeah, I've been kind of reticent to plant anything out here now, to tell you the truth, because everything's just getting nibbled. And I should probably, take precautionary measures with fencing and stuff like that, but it's getting so late in the season that I'm really not seeing the worth of it. Anyways, more beans have been planted here. I did 2 rows of bush beans here. My greens are doing okay, what hasn't been nibbled. It just seems as though they're not growing very fast, but I think that has to do with the amount of heat that we've had, and it has been substantial. So fingers crossed, this Lucillus chard is really the grande dame of the area. But hopefully the cooler weather starts to set in, these will actually take off a little bit more. I have been harvesting some of my herbs here that I've got. This thyme has gotten massive, so I've been harvesting some. I've also taken a couple of cuttings, and I'm currently rooting them on the windowsill. So I did the thyme, I did some oregano, and then some of the rosemary here, and hopefully I will get some rooting going on, and I'm going to plant them and keep them indoors over the winter. Hopefully have some fresh herbs to enjoy. I'm going to come out here and start picking some of these calendula blossoms and deadheading so that I can get more blooms. I want to get more blooms off of these for sure. Here's a big change. So I got all this pulled up, got the old beans pulled out, and I also planted several rows of bush beans. So this is really the hottest spot of the garden, even though it's kind of shaded. It is early morning right now. I'm going to, see what I can get out of these beds. The delicata has pretty much succumbed to powdery mildew. I did take a few off the plants, and I don't know if you can see through there. I'll get a little bit closer. There is one right there. So, got one more to harvest, but I think those are done. The cucumbers are just, they're going and going and going and going, and they keep going. I've had some die back, and I'm getting some yellowing and some nibble here and there, but I do have replacements that I will show you. And the replacements are going to go just here at the kind of the opening, okay, and see if I can get, the random morning glory, isn't it lovely? I'm going to see if I can extend my growing season for those. Here is the zucchini bed. Now you can see that I have about 3 or 4 plants here that are still going. I had cut these back substantially. The leaves that were covered in mildew I cut back, and they're actually bouncing back. So I kept these 3. I have more seeds planted, and I believe they're germinating. Last time I checked, they're germinating. So I'm going to put a couple in here as well. And then maybe some more beans. I don't know. That's I've got a bunch of seedlings that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet. Yeah, my Minnesota midget. I've been chatting with people on Jane's page and with, Jane herself, and I think I've mentioned it, but yeah, it died. It kicked the bucket, and I had 5 melons, all of which have been eaten. The whole plant has really been eaten. This is the only remnant of melon I have left. Oh, and there's a little piece in there as well. And I believe from the droppings that were left here, it was a raccoon. And a raccoon has been, that is that is my problem in this garden right now, as you will see once we get to the brassica bed. Potatoes, as you can see, I have lopped off all of the foliage. So I'm going to do a dig, probably a video, a big reveal of these potatoes, so that I can get this bed turned over and ready to plant something else in them. So that will be coming along. This obelisk that I built is just, if anything has gone right in the garden this year, it has been this. It's been such a beautiful, gorgeous, look at the colors on here. Every time I walk in here, it puts a smile on my face. Okay, here's my tomato carnage. Okay, you can see that I have blight, and it's a pretty bad blight, I have to say. I have to get in here and harvest. I've got some tomatoes that are rotting on the vine right now. I just haven't had a moment to come out here and harvest, so I'm going to probably come out after this video is done and do a really, really big harvest. I'm going to try to leave the green ones on as long as possible. Okay, I'm not noticing any blight in the stems yet, so I'm going to leave them on as long as possible. You can see where I've made an attempt to try to save these canes. They have been toppled over by storms, wicked storms, and some of them have even broken. I've been just trying to get them off of the ground. It's been a battle, but I mean, there's still a lot of tomatoes on here that need to be harvested. And then along the perimeter of the tomato bed, I have all this basil, which I need to cut down, and I want to make pesto. I didn't make any pesto last year. I want to make pesto this year. I love pesto. It's one of those, taste of summer in the middle of winter. Yes. So this is really a sight for sore eyes. I need to get in here and do something. My pickling cukes are pretty much done. I'm leaving some on the vines to get big and yellow and nasty so that I can save the seed. Okay, and I'll have those out probably the next couple days so I can seed them. But on the back, can you notice my French horticultural bean? It's going mad. It looks beautiful. It has really climbed up and over. And this is a shelling bean, so I will be eating the actual beans. And I don't know if you can see through. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Okay, I've got a couple of beans up there. So yeah, and they're beautiful. They're like a red marbled colored bean. Fabulous. If you recall, I did give up on life with the Brussels sprouts, so I'm just going to let them do their thing. This is the first potato bed. This was my first earlies, not my first earlies, but my Yukon Golds. And I had a very, very small crop with them. I've found this area of the garden is the wettest. Okay, there must be like a sinkhole underneath or something where water collects, because I mean, you can even just see how moist the soil is on the screen. And as I was digging them up, a lot of my seed potatoes were just, a lot of the potatoes that were in the ground were just rotted. So this is probably why my corn always did really, really well here, because, corn love, they need that moisture, constant moisture. And I've always felt like I've never really needed to deal with that. They've always kind of done their own thing. And this is why this is a really, really, this would be ideal for, squash and things like that. But maybe I'll put my squash here next year. my summer squash. But anyways, so I've had what little I, dug up out, and I've also turned and amended this. I mean, if anything, I'm really getting these beds prepared, for their hibernation over the winter. If I don't get any more food out of them, at least I have that. So yes, turning around, here's some more of the carnage. I mean, I don't know if it's a raccoon. I don't know. I mean, this is something, my friends, that don't think that I'm like coming on here and being like, oh, woe is me, I'm complaining, blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand that there's something coming back here and eating my stuff. And I need to take steps next year to ensure that these plants will be untouched. The one thing that I didn't even utilize this year were those like hoopy type of things that I built out of the polytunnel with netting. Okay, and I want to get a really, really good enviromesh, a good horticultural mesh to go over these plants. I have netting, but I used them on the broad beans at the beginning of the year, and to tell you the truth, like, they're animals getting stuck inside of them, and I'm not really cool with that. So next year I'm going to really invest in something that's going to protect these plants, but also not trap any fauna underneath them. So whatever it has been, I mean, it really looks like, I don't know, a mutant rabbit, or I don't even know. Deer can't really get back here. Perhaps it's a raccoon. I couldn't say, but they've really done a tune to my broccoli and to my cauliflower. I mean, they've really nipped the heads right off of them, and to my cabbage as well. Yeah. This Danish ball head is just, it's been lopped right off. Now I've got this gorgeous head here. I'll probably throw something on that. I mean, there's still time for me to net this. Maybe I should, so I can save what I've got. Apparently they don't have a taste for purple cabbage though, because look at these beauties. Look at them. I mean, I love purple cabbage too. Maybe I'll just make that the cabbage that I use. I don't know. I've had some of this regular cabbage. I've left some of the heads on. I've left some of the greens on as I have harvested the heads. But I do have a couple more heads to go. Okay. And I think I'm going to be making a big batch of cabbage soup. I think that's the plan. For the green cabbage, for the purple cabbage or the red cabbage, I think I'm going to try like a purple cabbage sauerkraut. I've always wanted to try that. Collards looking gorgeous. I've had a few leaves off of these already. Sauteed them up in some butter with some salt and pepper. Divine. Absolutely divine. All right. Come around the bend. Yeah, you can make your noise all you want, but you're worthless. You were a waste of money, apparently. Okay. Peppers are still doing their thing. I'm still getting lots of peppers off of these. The Cayenne Peppers you had seen, I had harvested a lot of them already, so those are pretty much done. But there are some green ones on there still that I'm going to let them ride. All right, and there are some red ones down here. Okay. Now this is the Slavana hybrid. I mean, they just keep chucking out peppers, and it's amazing. And these actually go red when they're ripe. Okay, and I can show you that on the other side. I think there was one over there that I saw yesterday, if some varmint hasn't already had them. My little sweetie. Look at that. My little volunteer sweetie. I'm sorry. It's really early, but I'm going to. Oh, gorgeous. Volunteers. Gotta love the volunteers. Okay, so, man, it is spiderweb heaven back here. You can see that Slavana is starting to turn. Okay, it's kind of like an orangey. So they go from this really, really bright acidy color to a darker red. These are over here. These are the jalapenos and the big Jims. Okay. Let me see if I got a big Jim over here. Oh, I got a couple big Jims here. Yeah. And remember from my pepper video, these dry really, really well. So that'll be lovely. All right, now we're going to come to the area that has been afflicted the most, and that is my everything bed here. My corn, my winter squash, things of that nature. So you can see I've made a dire attempt to stake things up, but you know, the wind has really, I mean, it's toppled everything down. Now I do have a few corn stalks that managed to keep upright, okay, and I do have a couple of ears forming on each plant. Whether they will be properly pollinated remains to be seen. But as in every other year, I'm going to say the same thing. At least I'll get some nice decorations out of them, right? Here's another one. Okay, that variety is called Golden Bantam. Here is my one lone Blue Hubbard. And I'm about to harvest that and bring that in to store because I think it's about ready. The Tithonia is doing really, really well. Butterflies are loving them. Take a look at that. Hope you saw that. Monarch butterfly. Okay, the spaghetti and butternut squash trellis, I'm not going to grow these squash on them ever again. Well, they grow too big for this trellis, period. They just grow too long, they grow over. I've had a few casualties, as you can see down here. Okay, those are spaghetti squash, and I've had, not only did they just fall off because of the death of the plant through mildew, but you know, I turned them over and holes, worms are inside of them and stuff like that. So those are pretty much useless. Those I will save for seed. Unfortunately, they are inedible. I do have some acorn squash. Luckily, that hasn't been eaten. Okay, got one here. One here. I've got this lovely right here on the fence. I mean, do you guys remember? I wasn't able to like walk through this at one point, but now I can because of the dieback. Got another one there, and a tiny one there. But here's some more decimation. Oh, what a shame. Now this was standing tall and beautiful yesterday. Oh. Good grief. Pretty sad. So, these are done. These are the black-eyed peas, okay? So, or I'm sorry, pinto. These are pinto beans. So I'll be able to harvest these. I just left them on to dry. And then over here, this is a most unusual plant. This is the black-eyed pea or the cow pea. I apologize for my shadow, but look at that flower. It looks like an orchid. Or it looks like a sweet pea. And then these long bean pods are being formed. Aren't they interesting? I've never seen anything like it before. I've got lots of them. Yeah, pretty exciting. I had to do a bit of oh, my pumpkins are done. They're done. All of the squash, the acorn squash, everything in there, mildew, and they're done. And I've got to clean out that bed. I'm just gonna get it cleaned out. Once I harvest that Hubbard squash, okay, and take it off the vine, then I'm just gonna clean out this area right here. I'll leave the area with the corn. But the eggplant's done for the most part out here. I've had more than I know what to deal with, so I'm pleased it's done their thing. I'm sure a lot of people think that about you know, zucchini or courgettes. It's yeah, over it. So here is the Gigantes, and it has gotten just completely filled, and it's gorgeous, I have to say. And it's starting to really put on. Okay, let me show you something. If you watched my video on Saturday when I maimed my ear, I was talking about cicadas. Well, I'm sorry, I know this isn't National Geographic, but not only do they look nasty, but they're, well, you know. Can you see them? Right. Ugh. Anyways, these gorgeous pods are forming all over the place. Look at this. I'm so excited about these. I really am. Soups and stews and whatnot. I reached out to Vivi Gregory. Darling Vivi, thank you so much for your guidance, because I've never grown these before, and I wasn't sure exactly what I could do with them, to tell you the truth. Or, you know, if I were to leave them on the plant to dry completely, how do I handle it? And she talked me through it, so thank you, I appreciate it, and I know what to do now. Okay, right, so I'm gonna come around the corner. I've walked through like 15 spider webs while filming this. So this is the Blue Lake runner bean, and my beans are beginning to form. So that means I've got some more cropping to do, some more canning to do. Okay, this was also part of the, well, I'll just show you right here. This was a casualty of the storm. I mean, you could see, obviously my bean poles were old and brittle, okay, because they just snapped. So just, honestly, the beans are holding themselves up, so I didn't bother, you know, doing anything to remedy that. So over here in the planters, the winner of the herbs over here is this holy basil, this Tulsi. And I'm looking forward to harvesting that. Parsley's doing okay. It has been nibbled quite a bit. My peppers are toppling over, but I do have peppers on them. Oh, great. Look at that big hole. Wonderful. These eggplant are kind of pathetic and lowly. I think those were just going to be out. I'm just going to take them out. Okay, one more place to show you, I think. Well, first and foremost, here are the seedlings that I had started a couple weeks ago. Okay, so here are the cucumbers. Those are ready to go in. All right, and I've got, let's see, 2, 4, 6 out of the 8 germinated. So I'll get those in the ground. I've got 2 more of the Cocozelle zucchini that have popped up. So weird, like looking at these specifically seedlings when we're, you know, a couple weeks from the first day of autumn. I did some beets through here, and I did some, these are brassicas and lettuce, okay? And here's some more lettuce through here and some spinach. So some of this is going to go out in the garden, but I think the rest of it is going to go in the tunnel. And let me show you why. Okay. So things are coming along in here. I'm so happy I have this tunnel. And oddly enough, I was thinking to myself before I got in here, you know, I've got to really think about getting this winter ready. I can't believe I'm saying that already, but It's really time to think about that. I mean, the eggplant is absolutely massive in here, and it's starting to throw flowers, and I think I spy an eggplant in here. So I'm getting a continuation of the cropping here. And remember, this is my orphanage, so there's lots of random things. For example, I've got some bell pepper, but then I've got these, I think this is obviously a big Jim, and then these are jalapenos, I'm guessing. Okay. The greens are kind of coming along here. Here is one sugar baby watermelon. Okay. And then here is the other sugar baby watermelon. Now, there used to be two here. One shriveled up and died. So I have 2 melons. That's all I got left for this this challenge, friends. And a challenge it was. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it was so much as, you know, the problem of me being, you know, a decent melon grower as it was just the weather and the critters that have really taken its toll. No matter. My tomatoes are shooting for the stars. Look at this. And I'm starting to get some fruit. So my tomato crop continues, which I'm really pleased about. I'm really happy. I remember these are all unknowns. These varieties are all unknown varieties because I did take them, I pulled them from the brassica bed. So I have no idea what we got going on here, except for over here at the very end, I did plant a couple of sweeties. Do you guys hear the sports teams? Did you guys hear that whistle? Yeah. I live right behind a school, actually, and they're already back doing sports and things. Oh. Here's some more basil and some more tulsi and some thyme. I pulled out all of the beans that were here. This really needs a good watering in here. I'm going to likely put a lot of the seedlings that I have started out here down here. Maybe I'll throw some bush beans in here as well, because I just feel like polytunnel is going to be the winner for me moving forward until, you know, we get into next spring and I can do more planning, really. But I'm just so happy I have this tunnel. I really am. So Mizuna is doing well. The rocket, or the arugula, is doing okay in the back. But yeah, I'm gonna fill in the gaps here. I'm gonna try to fit everything tightly too, because as you know, as the weather cools, things will tend to slow down with the growing. So get everything well healed into place before we get our first cold snap, and then I've got to do something here to reinforce this tunnel so I don't have a repeat of the monstrosity. So anyhow, Jane, my friend Jane Kelly, if you're listening, if you're watching, I may have to harvest these sooner than our deadline of the equinox. I don't want these to get overripe, fall off, smash into a million pieces, so we'll have to have a little chat. All right, let's go back to the shed. Yeah, I'm not going back in the shed. It's still really, really hot back there. Yes, as I drink hot coffee. I mean, that makes sense. So, lots of change. But I think the biggest change for me, okay, looking at it glass half full, is that this time last year, if I were pulling things out, I wasn't turning over my beds. I mean, everything that I pulled out was left to rest, and that was it for the season. So I've gotten things turned over, I've gotten things amended, and in the hopes, and planted in for the most part. So my hope is that maybe I can get some more beans And then, you know, some of my cooler weather crops are going to start to produce. I still have a lot of food that is going to come from this garden. The squash is pretty much done, the winter squash. The corn is I don't know, it might happen, it may not. I'm still going to get a lot more peppers. I'm going to get the rest of those tomatoes. I've already had a lot of tomatoes already, okay? What you guys saw for my canning video was really the tip of the iceberg, because I have been continually harvesting. So it's actually been, despite the blight, it has been actually a really good tomato year for me. So I'll be interested to see how my potatoes end up looking. So I'll get some film on that. It could be wonderful, it could be awful, but you know, we'll share that experience together. And what else? Yes, cucumbers are still going. I've got those new plants started, so I'm hoping to continue the cucumber process. And I've been processing a lot of my cucumbers that I haven't been able to get to, okay? Making, you know, big chunks of cucumbers and pickling them that way, and they're gorgeous. They really are. I just made a big batch of bread and butter pickles, so I'm excited about those. Beans are going to be, I'm going to continue harvesting. Those that I don't get to, I can shell and use the beans as just dried beans. So there's still a lot going on out there, and the tunnel, I feel, is really beginning to come into its prime. It's really starting to, you know, come into its element, and I'll be planting in there as well, so that's also going to be really good. So yes, it's obviously a huge change from July, but a lot has happened. The weather has happened, okay, the heat has happened, and now the nights are starting to draw in. So the sun is changing, the weather is changing. I'm noticing when I wake up and venture into the garden that there's lots of dew on the plants and on the grass. My feet are always wet, which means, you know, we're getting into that autumn climb. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, learning from my mistakes and rolling with the punches, and I'll feel even more prepared next year when it comes to, say, protecting my plants from whatever. I might end up taking all the fencing down from the perimeter and, you know, just fencing in each of the beds. I'll have to figure that out. You know, if that's something that is going to help protect everything, and so that I can really manage to get a decent amount of crop from them, then so be it. You know, I'm not gonna let it destroy my enthusiasm. So, yes, I've been getting on with a lot of things indoors, and I'm now thinking towards autumn. So, you know, I'm getting some firewood ready and put aside. I'm going to be ordering some more firewood. I buy kiln dried firewood, and it's wonderful for a wood burning stove, especially an open hearth stove. An open hearth fireplace that I have. It burns really clean, it burns really hot, and it burns really well. So I just gave the fireplace a really good scrub down and a clean out, and then of course I head back to school. So my attention to the garden is going to be literally cut in half. I won't be getting home until 4 o'clock. As the nights are drawing in, I'm going to be losing daylight faster and faster and faster. So September is going to probably be as frantic as May. Okay. Cropping what I can, harvesting what I can, taking out what I can, taking care of beds, etc., etc. So that's it, guys. My last August video, August of 2021. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any comments, don't forget to leave them in the comments box below. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see. Take a look at my other videos to see how my garden has progressed actually since January, when I started these monthly tours. And what's the other thing? I'm missing one thing. Hit the like button. Please consider subscribing. That's it. All right, guys, I will see you all really, really soon. Not sure with what yet, but it will be informative, I hope. Take care, and I'll see you all really, really soon. So long.